Welcome, all fellow wannabes. Welcome to the show. I am Gabriel Fast, and I am one of your hosts the Wannabe Critic. Today, I am joined by one Natty Redd. Red Moya. There we go. Red-Moya.
Yeah.
From Happy Hour Wax Bar, correct? Facial. Happy Hour Facial.
Wait, Wax and Facial
Wax
bar.
and Facial
Yep,
bar.
you got it. I know it's long.
Yeah, it's long.
I know it.
And also, for a rare occasion, for the main Wannabe Critic fee, we have my lovely wife, Emma, from the other half of A Guy and His Wife.
Hello, guys.
It's good. It's going to be a lively one, I can already tell. I'm outnumbered. This doesn't happen that often.
Me and Natty been drinking wine for the past 2 hours.
Yeah,
We've been
there we
preparing.
go.
We have
you've been
questions
preparing.
for you, don't you worry.
You have questions for me?
No, I'm
Okay. All right. Well, fair play. Whatever. So today we have a couple of things to talk about, obviously, because we have, a special guest here. But it's actually kind of funny because we're actually having a guest on that's known me for like pretty much my entire life.
That's right.
So, and we have a collaboration that we've been, kind of working on. I have been working on your podcast, which we're going to get into that a little bit. But it's awesome to have you on the show. I'm glad you could make it. I was very happy you agreed. Of course, yeah. I was glad that you could make it. So we're going to be kind of diving into what you got going on and why you're a person of interest.
Okay.
But ladies and gentlemen, yeah, there you go. But ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know and you want to know already, you are listening to The Wannabe Critic. And our constant efforts and attempts to create quality content, we have branched off into several podcast feeds of which are available to you as the listener right now. If you want to find some more information on those, you can go to wannabecritic.com where we have a few different podcasts there. We got some merch if you want to buy a t-shirt. You can find our YouTube channels there. There's all kinds of stuff there. So definitely give that a look-see if you want to see what else we got going on. But ladies, we're not here to talk about any of that crap. We're here to talk about what Natty's going on. And obviously, it's nice to have, like, another, like, lady, because...
Totally. I'm so happy to have Natty here.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also, like, I was going to be one of those things, like, okay, how do I have Natty on? I feel like the chemistry is going to be different, with just... without another person there, you know what I mean? So
okay.
We asked your husband to come on, but he said no, which is fine. Mm-hmm. So, Natty,
he's in the living room.
He's in the living room just chilling.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah.
So Natty, you are I wouldn't say, I guess you've kind of run your own businesses for a while, right? Because you had a tanning salon.
Yeah. Well, it's mobile spray tanning business. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and you had that back in 2014, 2015, correct? Is that right?
Yeah. It was like 7 years ago.
Was it 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So can you kind of is that kind of what launched you into your, wanting to get into like the beauty side of things? Like, because I've always wanted to talk to you about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Can you kind of give us the lowdown on that?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So a lot of people ask why I, was being an esthetician what you always wanted to do. And I'm like, no, actually, it's not just been like, it's been my dream my whole life. I never in a million years thought I'd be an esthetician. I actually didn't know what an esthetician was until I was about, I don't know, like maybe 24, 25. So, when I moved from Vegas to Joplin, I really had no clue what I was going to do. In Vegas, I was a cocktail server making really good money. And so I very quickly got married and moved back to Missouri. And I was like, what in the world am I going to do? I can't be a cocktail server in Missouri and make what I'm making now.
Nope.
And I really love money and having nice things. So I got to figure this out. And so I had helped my spray tanner in Vegas a lot. She had taught me how to spray tan just to help her out because she would do like cheer competitions and bodybuilding competitions, which were huge in Vegas, like hundreds of them at a time. And so when I moved back to Missouri, she's like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I have no clue. I'm freaking out about it. And she's like, you could totally do mobile spray tanning, because I didn't want any overhead. I didn't want to have to like rent out a place because I had no idea if it would go well or not. So I just did mobile, and it ended up that people loved it. People loved that they didn't have to leave their home with no makeup on, because when you get a spray tan, you can't have makeup on. Mm-hmm. And so people really enjoyed it, but it still just wasn't enough for me. So I still do mobile spray tanning. I just kind of stopped advertising for a long time. But what I enjoyed most about it is that I'd get that text the next day after they had showered and, rinsed the excess bronzer off, and they saw themselves tan and beautiful. And so I'd get that text where they're like, oh my gosh, thank you. I look so good, because who doesn't love to be tan? Mm-hmm. So I never stopped doing it. So it just ended up being like a side business, really. But I kept doing it. And then I got a day job.
What were you doing?
In sales.
Okay.
So I worked at Signature Granite, Signature Interior Expressions. Now they changed names while I was there, in sales. And I enjoyed it. I loved it. I loved helping people build their dream homes. And it kind of gave me that satisfaction of making people feel good about themselves, the same as like spray tanning almost. But I wasn't passionate about it anymore. I got to the point where I was just like over it, because you did have to deal with a lot of people and some grumpy people too. You know what I mean? So like with construction, things go wrong, and we always try to prep people like this is a construction process. So things will go wrong, but people didn't care. They wanted it yesterday, and you can't get it to them yesterday. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I got a job in admissions at the beauty school in Webb City, which was to recruit students to go to school there. Well, I ended up recruiting myself.
That's awesome.
I know. And so I couldn't work there and go to school because that's against like HIPAA or FIPA or something. Uh-huh. So I went back to Signature, went to school part-time to be a esthetician.
Wow.
So yeah, I know, it's crazy. Cool. So it happened like really overnight. Like I talked to my husband, Todd, and he's like, you could totally do it. Because it was totally down my alley, skincare, makeup, beauty, and just like making people feel good about themselves. When I would take students on a tour of the school, I would see the estheticians giving facials or doing the massage part of the facial. And I'm like, that looks like amazing, and just to see people relaxing and to be able to help them with their skin. And so I didn't know what was going to come from it. I had no clue, Right. I just knew this is totally down my alley and we'll just kind of see where it goes.
And then before you know it, you have your own business started
I know.
up.
Like, it really is crazy. So
was it kind of, because, we're obviously in two different kind of realms, but you're actually kind of, you're a brand new podcaster, Happy Hour with Natty. Check it out.
Brand new.
It's kind of one of those things like on whenever, because I throw myself into a lot of projects as well. And I finally feel like I'm at a point where it's like, oh, this feels right. The amount of things that I have feel right. So was it kind of that journey of like, you have this, but then you still have that longing for something else? Do you feel like you're at a point now where it's kind of like, okay, this is enough? Or do you find yourself like, what else can I do?
Is it ever enough?
I just don't think I'll ever be that way. I've always had more than one. I've always had multiple jobs, always. And through my jobs that I've had, I've learned you need to work smarter, not harder. So I feel like there's always room for growth and like something bigger. Not that I will always be an esthetician. I actually asked my husband the other day, I'm like, if you could go back, like what would you have done different for job wise, like your career? And he told me, and he's like, what would you have done? I'm like, I would have been an esthetician a long time ago because I love it. Like, this is my jam, and I should have did this a long time ago. But I also see the world, things are always changing, and you've got to change with it to grow. And so podcasts are huge right now, and they're just getting bigger and bigger. So I was like, why not take advantage of that? And a lot of my clients come from Instagram because I'm literally on Instagram all day long. And I think they just see like the real raw me. It's funny because when they come in and meet me for the first time, they're like, you're just like how you are on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, that's just who I am,
I'm a human being.
So no, I don't feel like this is it. I feel like, for sure I'll always be an esthetician. But I can't be an esthetician forever, right?
That's like the base layer. Like, you're always going to be able to do that. But so it's so you can only go up from here.
Yeah, exactly. But I also, I can't be an esthetician working 12 hours every day for the rest of my life too. So And I want to only like grow my community. So that's where my clients come from, is people in town. It's not online. I mean, I do some virtual consultations, but anyways, answer your question. No, I don't. No, I'm always thinking of like
the next thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
I feel like, I've heard on a lot of podcasts too, there's a lot of people, like, for instance, I follow a lot of people from a different industry, and they say, but it's kind of funny how it resonates across the board of you're always figuring out how to do the thing that you're in right now. And then when the next thing comes along, it's like, oh, here's the opportunity. Then you take the opportunity.
Absolutely.
And then you're working on that thing. Like, you're not ever like really looking for the next thing. Like, the next thing just kind of comes to you.
I do agree with that. Yes.
And I think obviously there's I've heard people, I've heard the saying, like, if you're not making moves, you're standing still. So obviously looking for opportunities is the big one. But every so often, an opportunity comes around. It's like, well, I'd be an idiot to not try and do this. Like, have happy hour, with Natty on my particular podcast. Yes. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, not to mention the fact that, I was going to say this for the end of the show, but we've kind of joined forces a little bit.
So exciting.
I produce your show,
You do.
which is
so exciting.
I've only done one episode, so you really don't know if I'm any good at it yet.
Yes, you are.
You know what I mean?
wouldn't have asked you. I've watched you. You're super talented.
Well,
so I wouldn't have just been like, hey, random dude that has a podcast.
Right. Well, and it is, I think it's the biggest compliment ever. Like, I think anytime someone comes into your facial bar, whatever. They come into your treatment room where they get treatment.
Totally. Yeah.
Anytime they come in, it's like a big form of flattery, and it's like a sense of validation. Oh my
gosh, it's amazing.
I can't believe someone's paying me to do something that I really like, and even more so for me, or very much in the same way for me, when someone calls me up and is like, "Hey, do you know anything about podcasts?" and I'm like, "Well, what do you want to know?"
I think when I called you to say that, because I was texting Emma about it first, and then she sent me your number, and then we talked on the phone for like 2 hours.
Yeah, just kind of brainstormed.
Like, oh, podcast, yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
And I was like, what? This is awesome. Like, I don't need to do my research anymore. I have somebody.
You have somebody that's basically made it. Yeah. Like, that's what most of my time is just,
refreshing.
And it's just the overall, production side of things that comes into it. So, in a sense, I would say, we're really happy to have Happy Hour be a part of Wannabe Critic Productions.
Wow,
so
we felt honored to be part of it.
Good deal. So one thing, I have a relatively decent outline here, and obviously, Emma, babe, if you want to say anything, jump in. I notice Emma's kind of out of breath. She's like breathing off
Shut
mic,
up.
which I like that. That's good. That's good. You know what I mean? Because
sometimes I just need to take deep breaths, and you tell me to do it away from the camera.
You're doing good. The microphone. But it's just so cute because you're a little podcaster, and it's just. I'm so proud of you. Natty's
proud of you.
Holy crap! We should have our own podcast. This is great. This is so good.
With the three of us.
The three of
we
us.
should have. Our
me and Natty.
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to be in it too, Gabe? I'm bad.
Whatever. I'm turning your microphone down.
Okay, I don't know what your questions are, but I have a question for Natty.
Do it.
Hey. So you are insane when it comes to your marketing on Instagram, and like I mean I've met you in the past, but I had never really gotten to know you as a person until recently, and so I'm just like drawn in by like your stories and just like how you market yourself on Instagram. So is that something that you've just like gotten good at like yourself, or did you go to like seminars and stuff to like learn about marketing?
I think being in sales, like having a sales job, really has helped me a ton. And then I was part of a multi-level marketing company, an MLM.
Okay.
And anytime you go to their seminars or conventions or whatever they call them, they teach you how to be present on social media to make more sales. So I got a lot of stuff from that as well. My main thing though is you have to think as a consumer. So if I'm watching something, right? Like, what is it that got me to order that? Because I literally saw it over and over on Instagram, and I was like, it's so cute. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna order it. Or somebody on an involved with an MLM, they're selling a mascara, or like I bought those magnetic eyelashes from what's her face, because she would not stop posting about it,
Right.
and I'm always like about supporting people. So I think it's just a combination of things, but definitely being in sales has been a huge like eye opener, as far as like it's crazy what people will buy just based on like how things are presented.
Totally.
I guess, you know what I mean? And you have to be likable and relatable. So
Totally.
everybody has skin, right? So and I'm not an esthetician. I mean, obviously it's my career now and it's how I pay my bills and help feed my family. But I do it because I truly genuinely enjoy helping people take care of their skin, and it's the most amazing feeling when you get them to that point, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's another thing too, like you have to really want it,
Yeah.
because if you don't, then people can feel that vibe and that
Right.
energy. I think so anyway. Like I can totally watch somebody and be like, they're not even into this themselves, or you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so
Yeah.
great
Well, I like
question,
that.
though. I wish it was more black and white. But
No,
it's
I
not.
like that. I like that answer.
And my brain is just like constantly turning on like, what can I say or post
Right.
or do?
Mhm.
And when I post things, people buy it, you know? So I'm just constantly posting about
Right.
it. And they love being educated on the product too.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. I like that.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Sell me this pin.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thank you for sharing that, because that's something that I think anyone, I think a lot of people that are considered quote unquote influencers, which I would very much put you in that boat of, you're an
Really?
influencer. I think so, yeah, because
In a
there's
way,
like,
yeah,
there's a
totally.
social
I'm a
media.
licensed professional esthetician.
It's true,
Yeah,
but you can
totally.
also be,
Totally.
you can also be,
But you influence people
I
to
do?
do a certain
Okay.
thing. Yeah. And it's a good thing.
I sometimes have this like a negative view of influencers
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, I got paid to tell you about this.
Yeah, and they
mask,
don't want to work.
and you should put it all over your face. But
Right.
it's gonna make you break out. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yes.
And that like makes me. Or go
Yeah.
buy a scalpel on Amazon. You can totally dermaplane your own face. It'll be fine.
No.
As they like cut their face open and go to
Right.
the emergency
You're like
room,
an
you know what I
actual
mean?
like influencer that
Yeah,
people
right.
like want.
So when I hear influencer, I'm like,
it's like a negative
you
connotation.
actually know what you're
Licensed.
talking about.
I know that's so awful.
But it-
like,
No, I
full of
totally
myself, but-
understand.
But it totally fits into that, and I think everything that you're talking about, there's also like such a broad term, influencer, because there's definitely, we see those people out there that like definitely are what you were talking about, like kind of in the negative way. But then there's also people that
They're
legit
just-
Because
know.
they're getting paid, but they're, you know what? They're paying their bills with that and feeding their
Right.
family, and they have a great like income because of it.
But you can't trust them because
I
they're just
know.
getting paid to like
Right.
tell you about
Yes.
certain things. But like
Exactly.
you've tried and tested these products and like
Exactly.
we
And
can
I-
tell that and we trust you that
Totally.
you know what you're talking about, So it's like the good kind of influencer.
So I'm like a professional influencer.
Exactly.
There you go. Well, I would say like inherently, like being an influencer is part of your profession. Like
Really?
I would say so.
Oh,
Yeah.
I feel so fancy.
I mean, yeah. There you go. I mean, just the social
Nobody's
media.
paying me yet though.
Well,
They will.
they will eventually. Yeah.
But
for
I'm
sure.
not gonna do it unless I really believe. In
There you go.
Good.
I think that's the key. Kind of like you said, passion's where the. I mean, I think in a nutshell, passion's where the money is.
Yeah, for sure.
So figuring out how to harness that and get rich is the next
Yeah.
step. So you said that you were, a cocktail waitress in Vegas. I want to talk about that a little bit because I've always kind of been curious.
She's like, please
Okay.
no.
Yes,
So-
I was a lot skinnier then.
No.
So
Whatever.
So obviously, Vegas kind of has a certain,
Sin City, like
yeah, Sin City. Like it has a certain reputation.
reputation. Yeah.
Is it like that for real?
Isn't it like that everywhere?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
just
that's
have-
kinda-
If you're
is
looking
it-
for it,
is-
you're gonna find
Right.
it.
Is it any worse, like just on the nose than, say like going somewhere like, I don't know, like any other place.
Well, currently I live in meth capital, so
Yeah.
no.
It's true.
No, it's really not that bad. When you live there, it's totally different because it's just like a town like anywhere else, truly, honestly. It's just way more diverse, a lot more culture. The food's amazing there. And I'm talking like off the strip, right? Like not downtown. I'm talking about when you live there. You don't go to the strip unless you work there or you're like going out to a super nice restaurant, which there are nice restaurants off the strip too. But
Interesting.
So is it crazy? Yeah, because I don't know if Vegas wanted it to be that way or people just ended up making it that way, but people come, like I've had friends come, dudes, and they're like, I'm going to get a prostitute tonight. And I'm like, please don't. That's illegal.
Yeah.
Like you will go to jail. But people just assume because it's talked about that it's legal. And they're like, no, it's legal. I'm like, no, that's the county over. So if you want to drive 45 minutes, you can get.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can definitely do that. So people just make it seem like it's this like awful, gross place, Sin City, right? You're just doing all these awful things. Yes, can you? Absolutely, but you can do that anywhere.
You can do that right here
as well.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. So,
and that's kind of what I've been to Nevada, like
Vegas, Nevada.
No, I've never been to Vegas, but just like, I mean,
I've never been to Vegas.
But
But
we have to go. It's so fun.
I know. I'm
Let's
just
get a prostitute.
I'm scared. I'm scared because of like the connotation. Like
No, it's not that bad.
Okay.
I literally have a friend that he totally got mad at Todd and I for going. This is like, he's been a friend of my husband's for a long time. Because he's like, why would you go to Vegas? You're just setting yourself up to like make mistakes and like be. And I'm like, you need to get out of Missouri.
Yeah.
Because you're crazy for even saying that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not that way at all. Like there are chefs there that you could never eat their food unless you traveled to another country.
Oh my
right?
gosh.
So it's
like the
okay, so
Wagyu
you've already
beef
sold
and
me
stuff
the
like that,
most amazing food you've ever put in your mouth.
Well, like we were watching that chef show,
it's so
right?
good.
And they spent like an entire season or like 3 or 4 episodes just in Vegas, like doing all these things. I'm like,
'Cause it's
oh my
insane.
god, like I want
I'm
to go.
sold because I'm a total foodie when I travel. So like
we are total foodies.
we are total foodies. Sorry.
Well, it's cheap to fly to Vegas, right? You can get a flight for like a couple $100 round trip. And the food is, the food's expensive, but it's such an experience.
Yes.
Right?
It's
so
like
like
it's worth it, you know
Yeah,
what I
if
mean?
it's
Like
an experience.
so worth it. Like
Yeah.
I would, it's so worth it.
so yeah, and that Vegas needs to happen. Vegas.
Yeah.
So you're in Vegas and you're doing all this stuff, you were said like
doing all this stuff.
Living it up.
living it up. And what was the name of that? Let me get this right. Omnia?
Oh, no, I didn't work there.
You didn't work
No.
there? Okay, where did you work?
My first cocktailing job was at Tao Beach at the Venetian, and then the next job I had was at Encore Beach Club at Encore. My
Okay,
sister
gotcha.
bartended at
Okay.
Omnia.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which that's why I moved to Vegas, is because of her. She lived there when I
Gotcha. So how long were you there in Vegas?
from 18 to 25, so however many years.
7 years.
7 years. Okay. Right on. So, I think a lot of people, whenever they're in one place for a certain amount of time, it's time to move, or it can be time to move for some people. What happened for you?
Oh, it was so sad. I didn't want to move.
You didn't?
No, I was
I've always
forced.
wondered.
Oh my god.
I always wondered about
No,
this.
I think I actually at that moment was ready to move. It's a lot, especially when you work in the industry. So I was working on the strip, and it's a lot because you do have to deal with those people that think Vegas is this. I mean, I literally had people be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you work here. And so where do you live? Do you just fly back from LA every weekend?
What?
Like, do you live, where do you live at? I'm like, in a house like 10 minutes from here. And they're like, what? You don't live in a hotel? And I'm like, no.
What?
Like, so people have no clue. Like that was that every day I had that. Somebody would ask me that every day. And then you're like a babysitter on steroids for super drunk people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I did get to the point where I was like, I'm so over this. I would love another job that paid as much as I was getting paid.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
let's be real. But I also knew I'm only going to be young and skinny and pretty for so long, right? There's always going to be younger, prettier girls coming out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was just trying to like take it as, you know, milk it as
Yeah.
much as I could. So yeah, I was not like super sad to move, but now I'm really sad that I don't live there.
Yeah.
But no, I met my husband not in Vegas, but when I only worked during the summer, so I would come home for the winters and just to visit family.
Mm-hmm.
And I met my husband at, well, my niece was like a singer-songwriter at that point, so she had a house concert for me before I went home to Vegas. And I met Todd there, my husband. And so from the day we met to when we got married, it was 6 months. So everything just happened really fast.
Wow.
And actually, after
fell
we
hard.
real hard.
Yeah.
What?
I love
blame
Todd.
me?
No, Todd's a sexy man.
I know. I
I
just
love him.
so
I do
much.
too. Like,
We just celebrated our 7-year anniversary, and
Happy
I'm just
anniversary.
Happy
Yeah.
anniversary.
so obsessed with him.
That's
Yeah,
good.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
but
Emma-
I do miss Vegas, and he does too. He loved coming out to visit, and we had so much fun.
how could you leave Vegas? There's In-N-Out there.
I know.
So,
Tell
like,
me
what's
about
your
it.
relationship with Joplin, where you live now?
So I guess I don't know where to say I'm from. I was born in Hawaii, and then we moved to Kansas.
I didn't know that.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
I know. And then we moved to Kansas
know
when
that
I was
either.
like 2
Mhm.
or 3. And then we moved to Missouri. And so we moved to Missouri when I was in 4th grade. Neosho.
Okay.
So from 4th grade through high school, that's where I lived, was Neosho.
Okay.
I was an idiot and decided to homeschool my last 2 years of high school.
Mhm.
And so I moved to Joplin. That's a whole nother story why I moved
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah.
so that's how basically been here most of my life. And then my sister was in Vegas,
Mhm.
and I was about to get married, and she's like, "You're not getting married at 18." And she's like, "You're going to come visit me."
Okay.
And so I did, and I tell her to this every time I see her. I'm like, "You saved my life." Like, she was
Yeah.
my saving grace.
Wow.
And I had so much. She just made sure I had like the best, and that this was her life, though. You know, like we
Mhm.
had so much fun when I was out there, and I was only 18, so I wasn't even like 21 to be able to go do all the
Right.
crazy stuff. We just had so much fun. They had not Whitewater, but some water park there at that time.
Yeah.
And she was a nanny, and we went to this private beach in Laguna Beach, and like she just like showed me a world, right, that I'd never
Right.
like
Yeah.
experienced before. It was amazing. And so I moved out there. That was crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Kinda
Like
went for
thinking
it.
back, I'm like, my mom probably had a heart attack.
Totally.
Yeah, but man, I love your mom though. Like,
I know.
She's awesome. If she's
I
listening to
know.
this, God bless her.
She will listen to it.
She
Aw.
better.
Yeah.
Nancy, hi.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
So this is kind of a not a crazy story, but this is kind of a cool background that you have, because you know you kind of went full circle a little bit. Like you
Yeah.
started in one area, kind of went and did something that a lot of
Oh.
people don't get to go do. You know what I mean? And then
And you moved back here. Like,
You moved
so
back here.
stupid. And I
But-
said I was never going to move back to Missouri. I was never going to
But
get
you
married. I
did.
was never going to have kids. And that all happened in
love can't
a day.
find a way. You
So
know what
how
I
do
mean?
you
Yeah.
feel? How do you feel being back in Missouri, and like back where you grew up? Like, what are your feelings? Tell me all your feelings.
Let it out.
I was so in love, and I still am so in love with Todd.
Yes.
You know, so I didn't even care. I'm like, yeah, it sucks. But I was coming back to a place I was familiar with.
Yeah.
Nothing had changed, so that was great.
Yeah.
Everything was exactly the same.
Nothing changes here.
So I think when I transitioned from that, like, being happy, doing spray tans and sales to not being,
Mm-hmm.
I started getting really depressed. Like, I'm like,
Okay.
this is why I don't like Missouri, because
Yeah.
there's no opportunities for me. There's nothing.
Right.
And then I'm like, be smart, make your own opportunities. So I was
Mhm.
like, what can I do? So I became an esthetician, started my own business, great. And then I was like, if I'm going to have to live here the rest of my life, which, not saying if anybody's listening from Joplin, I love it there, okay? But it's not where I want to spend the rest of my life. I'd love to, like, retire and move to, like,
Hawaii.
Colorado, Hawaii, or, you know,
Yeah.
Build your empire.
But if
and
I'm
then-
gonna live there, I want it to be the best place that it can be,
Right.
you know? And so that's kind of where
it
the
comes from.
podcast
So
started.
I love
right.
that.
I love that too. And that right there is exactly why you're sitting in my studio right now talking about this, because, you know, we always say on the show, like, oh, everyone's a wannabe, right?
Yeah.
What you said about making your own opportunity, like, be smart. How do you take that, you know, that initiative to say, well, there's no opportunities around here. What can I do to make it? You know, to where all of a sudden people are like looking at you and they're like, well, wait a minute, who's this girl? Or, you know, what's this thing that she's doing? Or, you know, what's going on? And I think that is a drive that, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people kind of get intimidated by either the amount of things that are out there just in general, like, oh, well, I'll never make it. Or, oh, there's nothing here, so why even try?
Yeah,
like, there's
but you
no
gotta want
opportunities.
it,
You gotta
right?
want it, right?
And I literally had like my dearest friend at that time when I was in school tell me, you're not going to make it because it's nothing in Joplin makes it.
Right.
So you're not, it's,
You're
and
not gonna
I
make it.
will not, and that really like lit a fire under my butt because I was like, screw you. I am going to make it because I want it bad enough. And like,
Yep.
I'm going to show you.
Now,
You know
that
what
being
I mean?
said, though, so that being said, it's like, and this is kind of what I was going to go into something else I was going to say, but
Sorry.
no, that's fine. I like it. Everything you're saying is like, I really like it because everyone says like, oh, you like in the movies we always hear, oh, you got to take what you want. Like you see what you want, you got to take it. They don't. Yeah, that's true. Like, but we grow up hearing that, but they don't tell you that getting to the point where you can even reach it to take it is a different whole different bag of worms. Yeah. And just as somebody who works, you know, from a production standpoint, like you want it to be at the best that you can possibly do, and like you don't feel good about a project, and even whenever it's quote unquote good or done, you're always like stressing about it. And I feel like anything that was worth having or like worth fighting for, and you get to that point, you're like, wow, the amount of tears or the amount of stress that I had to get there, like it wasn't just all roses and butterflies and like, oh yeah, I have this thing. It's like, no, I freaking worked, you know, like I work on podcasts until 3 a.m. sometimes because I want it. Like I want to be doing this.
Yeah.
And that's why I think I kind of connect with you on what you're saying, because you say you work from 9 to 9. Who does that? You know what I mean? Like that is a grind. And then you'll work from 9 to 9 and then call me about podcast stuff or whatever. And it's like, holy crap. Like it's just like you get into this mentality of I'm just a machine. And like you can sleep when you're dead, you know, a little bit. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people, we don't hear experiences of that enough from a like a relatable standpoint.
Yeah, realistic, right?
Realistic.
Yeah,
like, of course,
real.
you know, and honestly, I feel like some of the best, there's a lot of people in Joplin even, you know, like there's bands that have come out of Joplin, you know, like Never Shout Never, you know what I mean? Like that guy, he's obviously, yes, did he kind of have a lucky break with MySpace? Yeah, I think so, but he also
that
worked.
was his break. Like
that was his break. Yeah,
Who
and then
cares?
he took it.
That's
you know,
totally.
like
Good
there's so many, there's a lot of things that have come out of Joplin, you know, and I feel like people take that energy of you'll never be anything, because that's what a lot of people are they're just complacent with. And again, if you're listening from Joplin, whatever,
we love you, Joplin.
We love you, but yeah, exactly. But I think even people from Joplin will say that there isn't.
That's anywhere though.
Yeah, it is.
Let's be real. You know what I mean?
I think it definitely can be.
It can be. Yeah.
If you're not living in Los Angeles or New York, right?
Well, because it's at your fingertips there.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
Yeah,
know?
you're sucked into the social pipeline.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that's why I really like you kind of talking about these and saying these things that I think we try and kind of convey on this show as much as possible, because it kind of goes back to the motto of, yeah, everyone's a wannabe because you want this thing to happen. Totally. And if it ever gets to that point, in your mind, you're thinking, like you, for instance, you're paying me to do your show. I'm like, well, I'm just a wannabe. You know, someone's going to find out I'm a fake or whatever. But you're like legit, you know what I mean? So that's kind of the goal, is to always get to that point. But so we talked about where you grew up. We talked about the tanning salon. Talked about why you got into skin. Okay, so podcasting. This is kind of your newest venture. You call the wannabe up and you say, "All right, Gabe, I want to do a podcast." Yeah. Right? Why?
Really, to be honest, because I really in my heart feel like I can educate people this way, and with not just Joplin, but like esthetician things, so skincare, self-care, how to take care of yourself, but also help Joplin not grow, just for people to have a way to learn more about Joplin, right? So
Yes.
I feel like people get used to their normal day-to-day routine and they forget like these coffee shops are popping up in Joplin, these restaurants are popping up, and they need the local people to help them to survive and grow. But I also am trying to work smarter, not harder. So I one day hope to be the breadwinner of my family so my husband can retire. He's quite a few years older than I am, and he has a very physical, labor-intensive job that he can't do forever. And so I want a way to be able to provide for my family that I'm not working 9 to 9, 5 days a week, so that I have other incomes coming in, because like I told you, I've always had multiple incomes, multiple jobs. And so when I was like, this is what I have, my esthetician business, I love it. I love happy hour. It's growing and it's amazing, but I have to have something else because guess what? COVID happened and I was shut down for 6 weeks. But if I had a podcast where people still are working, right? They're essential and spending money. And then I have my sponsors paying me to talk about them on my podcast. That's another source of income.
Not to mention the fact that some of your sponsors will probably start out being local companies. You know, it's like every episode.
100%.
And then who knows, the more it really should start from a local standpoint of like, okay, we have a lot of listenership here locally.
Yeah.
And then like we talk about getting a break. Yeah. Someone from a different place is like, oh, this girl's good, Yeah. Then,
or just because it's a local thing doesn't mean somewhere across the United States they're like, I want to do that in my town.
Totally.
Like, I love that idea that to have a pop-up shop or a flower truck or you know what I mean? So it's not just like anything. Yeah. It's
and I think your idea with Happy Hour with Natty, the podcast, I think it's really kind of like creating those water cooler moments a little bit of the talk of the town, so to speak. Like I feel like there's we talked about earlier, like the sense of community. A lot of people have podcasts, like for instance, for me, I like to talk and I like to give my opinion about content. You do. That's fine.
We know.
That's what. Hey, fight me. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Come at me. But that's my passion, right? Yeah. And I feel like if you feel like you have an ear for it, or you feel like you're good at something, you're gonna want to pursue it. Whereas you've always kind of been more philanthropic than I, like with people, I would say. I think so. Okay. Yeah, like more. You just were always like, I just remember from a young age, like you were just always very easy with people. Like everyone likes you, you know what I mean? And that was something. I was like, oh yeah, Natty's gonna be there. Great, everyone likes Natty, whatever. And that's always I've always felt that way, And I feel like figuring out how to like kind of channel that into what you're doing now. Your passion is pursuing this project from a local business standpoint, and people are like, oh, I don't want to do a podcast about local business. I want to do a podcast about video games and movies or whatever. But you're doing something kind of unique. So I think that's really rare to see, someone going more that avenue. Do you feel like it kind of affects you, like whenever you have people in your the treatment room, right? Your treatment room. I don't know why I want to keep on saying salon. It'll click, treatment room. Are you like ever taking those moments of like, okay, I have a breather here, or are the wheels always spinning of like, okay, what can I accomplish? Like, what can I accomplish in the next 10 minutes? I mean, what do those moments look like? Because I'm sure people that aren't watching you are probably kind of wondering.
I mean, sometimes I am very like in the moment.
Do you put spa music on?
I do, but it's more like chill instrumental.
Okay, like lo-fi.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
I don't know. I mean, I can tell you the playlist I listen to on later. Apple Music, but most of the time, I think because I'm so relaxed and thinking clearly, things come to me. If that makes sense?
Yeah. Totally.
So like, right? So I'm really focused on what I'm doing, but sometimes it can be repetitive. Not all the time, but sometimes it can be. And so when they're super relaxed and I'm super relaxed, I just have this time to really focus on my thoughts, where normally my mind is going a million miles a minute, right? So I'm like a stepmom, I'm a mom, I'm a dog mom, I own my house, I, have a job, I'm worried about my mom and my family. And so you just always have these like constant things going through your mind. But when I'm in the treatment room, I can really just like let everything like kind of go. But then that's when I have my best ideas.
Kind of like almost like a meditation of sorts.
Yeah, I guess I've always been really bad about meditating, but I guess that is like I just have like the best. The best ideas, the best thinking. Like I'm thinking clearly.
Yeah,
right? It's like nega intrusive thoughts. Like instead of having bad thoughts coming in, like, oh my God, I'm so stressed out. It's like, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
Yeah,
I'm gonna start a podcast. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that came more during quarantine.
Right.
And I was like, what am I doing with my life? I picked the worst job to have because I can't make money. But I actually did really good with like skincare and stuff because people were essential. But I'm like, I did want to have a podcast before then, but I was like, I don't have time for this,
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, I got to do something because if this is going to get crazy.
Yeah, and that's why you
and then I was like, Gabe, and then I'm like, Gabe, I don't have time.
Exactly.
I told you, I'm like, I literally don't have time to do this, so I need you to do it all for me.
Yep. Yeah, well, and there you go. That's what we do over here, you know what I mean? So,
the wannabe critic. Just if you guys are listening, just say no. This is the wannabe critic.
That's right.
He's for hire.
That's right. I'm for hire. You just give me a call. I'll tell you what's what.
But not in the Joplin area.
Yeah.
This local podcast idea is taken.
Yeah.
You want to start a
right.
different podcast? That's fine.
Yeah. I can't breach the contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's right.
So obviously, if you're gonna start a podcast, there must be one of two things, because I don't think anyone really just says, "Oh, I'm going to start a podcast," unless for two. Yeah, let's hear these two things.
The two things are, you have to have what your podcast is going to be about.
Okay, I mean that's good, but that wasn't one of them. Okay, we'll do three. We'll do three. We'll do three.
A computer.
Okay, no.
Oh, dang it! Really?
I was gonna say there's like two main ones.
Okay, what?
So you either listen to a lot of podcasts,
okay,
or you like to talk.
Okay.
That to me, that's like, because I never listened to podcasts.
Maybe
yeah,
for you.
that is not anything
I think
that was going
it's
on.
different for everyone.
So what inspired you then? Like, I mean, obviously COVID, but I mean, did it just come to you and you were just like, I think starting a podcast is going to be a good idea?
Yeah, because I was listening to podcasts. I didn't really before, but I started listening to them.
And then they were, oh my God, I can totally do this.
And they're getting sponsored by these big companies. And I'm like, they have to be making bank.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Like, this company is just doing it for free. No, they're probably making bank.
Oh, yeah.
And they're literally talking about their period. Yeah. And I can totally do that. They did. That's what they were selling.
Yes.
Like the Diva Cup things. And they're just literally talked about their period for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could totally do that.
Yeah.
But I love drinking.
Yep.
And if Babe Wine is listening, I would love for you to sponsor me.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't know. Well, how funny would that be if I got a sponsorship from Babe Wine and you didn't?
We love Babe Wine.
That would not be funny.
Natty loves Babe Wine, and they should definitely.
I literally have bags and bags of Babe Wine cans because I'm going to make a TikTok with them.
Good.
To try and get them to notice me.
Okay, let's go down that.
Nice.
Let's go down that rabbit hole a little bit. Okay. So you're a TikToker.
Yeah, I love TikTok.
I do too.
You watch it?
I don't have TikTok.
Dude.
She lays in bed and watches TikToks with me.
I watch Gabe's TikTok, but I've never seen you.
No, I don't make a lot of them.
Oh, you don't make them?
No.
Oh.
But I'm going to make one.
I want you to make some.
I mean, I've made a couple.
Okay,
cool. I'll show you.
After the pod. I want to see some too. Yeah.
He's like on track.
So to me, this is something I learned a little bit ago, because we have Emma and I have a friend.
What? Who?
Emma Hamilton.
Oh, yeah?
And she was like, "Oh, are you on TikTok?" And I was like, it's fine. Well, you asked, Emma. Emma's trying not to laugh. She's asked me, because I was kind of, whenever I was starting this whole podcast thing, was really starting to take it more seriously.
Who was, Emma?
I was.
Oh, you were. Oh.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to take this more seriously.
Oh, you were trying to make
Yeah, okay. And she's like big in business or whatever, and we bought our truck from her.
Okay.
And she asked me, she was like, "Are you on TikTok?" And I thought, is this a joke? You know, but and then I started to. I downloaded it. Yeah, I am.
Are you posting?
He is now. Yeah.
I am posting stuff.
Boy,
He's a TikToker for sure.
Good.
So I'm like blown away because
It's the trend.
it
you
really
know?
is.
You gotta
And I'm
go
like-
with the
Okay,
flow.
Natty, as long as you don't just do weird dances on there.
No, I don't do the
Okay,
dances.
good. Thank you.
No.
well, I mean, I like took someone
I
else's
want a
content.
Dolce.
Yes.
and
Okay, good.
I do have me doing a dance, but I like didn't know it, so I just like made it up. And I was drinking wine.
That's good. I like that.
I think it's kind of crazy though that like all these different like social media sources and all these places we consume content like are kind of intertwined, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, if you like my TikTok and someone goes to see my profile and they're gonna be like, oh, he has a YouTube channel, and they go see my content, like he likes video games, I like video games, subscribe. You know,
No,
you never
it's
know.
so true. You go down a rabbit hole, right? You're
You
like,
really do.
And then
Yeah.
you find out about their life. And
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's just
crazy.
kind of crazy how important it is to kind of have everything intertwined, because
Totally.
I started this, this website, and I was like, did you just smell your armpit?
He always will
I'll
call you out.
I'll call you
feel
out.
like I forgot to put deodorant
Girls are
on today.
gross.
I don't
Guys, if
smell
you're
you.
listening to this, guys, if you made it past the period talk, God
my
bless you
God.
for making it this long. But girls are gross. Don't ever forget it.
Whatever.
I'm
but yeah, I
pretty
just
gross,
kind of
I'm
wanted to
fine.
go.
Most girls aren't.
Kind of wanted to go down that rabbit hole for a second because
Yeah.
I didn't know the extent of your TikToking. But I'll sit
No,
there. I'll
I'm-
lay there in bed, and an hour or two will go by, and I'm like,
Yeah, do you get the guy that's like, hey,
hey, I know how easy it is to keep keep
time
scrolling.
to go to bed.
I'm like, oh, I better do
Scroll.
that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I usually listen to them.
you do?
You
Yeah.
do? No,
I-
you don't.
I only skip them sometimes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I love TikTok.
I do too. It's great. It's Vine. Vine walked so that TikTok could run. Just saying, because it's kind of crazy. You can take someone else's video and duet it,
Yeah,
right? And then
uh-huh.
it's like I just got
Or
1,000
do the
views.
voice
Yeah.
over or whatever. Yeah.
I was like,
Got
someone. I got 1,000 views
that's
just reacting to
yeah,
someone else's,
I know. Yeah.
someone else's content.
Mhm,
It's
yeah.
just, it's crazy to me.
I know, it's amazing.
So we're kind of getting towards the end of the questions that I had here, but as far as on the podcast topic, like, what's some of your favorite podcasts that you like to listen to? Are you okay? She just dropped her phone.
Another cocktail. Okay. Hold on.
You need more wine.
My favorite is the Beauty Biz BFFs. Yeah.
Cute.
And then You Can Sip With Us.
Mm.
Charm School, I love.
Are these all female hosts?
Yes.
Of
Okay.
course they are.
But I also like
Women supporting women.
Tom Segura and Christina, his wife.
Okay.
That one. It's really funny. Your Mom's House. I know it's rated
PG-13?
R.
Oh, okay. Let's face it, most of the podcasts you listen
Freckled,
to.
like Freckled Foodie. She's she's just, I don't know if she's a chef or not, but she like makes amazing food.
Oh, I
follow
would
her on
like
Instagram.
that.
I actually found her because her mom is on TikTok making these hilarious videos because her and her sister, they were quarantined together, and she's like, she was their executive assistant, and she'd bring them like tequila shots.
Oh
and,
my gosh.
And they live in this like amazing, beautiful home,
Of
and her mom was
course.
always like decked out in like designer clothes.
Of
But it was just so
course.
funny. So those are my. Oh, and then of course, Wanna Be Critics is my number one.
There you go.
Oh.
Your favorite one.
And A Guy and His Wife.
Guy
Okay,
and
that's
his
the
wife.
best
For sure.
one.
Those are the
Yeah.
it really is. Real talk, we're trying to get it to the
Yeah,
point where it's
real
like we
talk.
can have other people running this main podcast
Yeah.
feed. And that way
Yeah.
me and Emma can just make
I
consistent
would love
content all the time.
that.
I would too. I hope it
Do you
happens.
know anybody?
I mean, I got some infrastructure.
He's,
you know what I mean?
he's working on things.
We're working on it. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You got to start from somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
But the goal is obviously, to be. It's like, yeah, we have this production thing that we're working on. It's
Yeah.
like I can help you with whatever, and but we're trying to build like an infrastructure of content
Yeah.
where people come to our thing and they're like, oh, they have podcasts and YouTube channels, and it's all kind of the same vibe but different. And oh my God, they have people streaming for them, and like, oh, this is great. This is something I want to be a part of. That's the goal,
Yeah.
but that takes time.
Yeah, totally.
So.
Is there anything else you want to say about your business or your podcast, like before we end?
Just, I would love for everyone to listen to it.
Yeah.
At least give it
Totally.
a chance.
Yes.
I did
You
want to
know?
ask one more question really fast.
Okay.
So I know you don't have any free time, and I know you do have to go here pretty quick, but you obviously don't have any free time. But the free time that you do have, what do you like to do? Because you work more than, like, you work.
I love working.
That's
Do
what you like to
really?
do.
Yeah, so for my summer hours, I took Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, but people are like, oh, you're booked a month out, and I need a Brazilian before I leave for my vacation. And I'm like, oh, I'll just come in on my day off. Like, I really do truly love
You
it.
like it.
Wow.
But I love, I know it sounds cliche, but spending time with my family. Like, I
No,
never see
yeah.
my husband, so any chance I can get to spend with him,
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Like watching movies, or what do you guys like to do?
You guys play Fortnite together?
No, he doesn't play video games. Thank Jesus.
Whatever. He plays Injustice. I played Injustice with him. Todd!
He plays
does.
Injustice.
He does.
I
He
will
doesn't.
dominate him at Injustice.
He doesn't play
Probably
video
good.
games.
Oh.
No, he doesn't.
All right.
Maybe like for an hour with his son, like a week.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
When does he play these?
I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say like
You're
I
obviously
would
exactly.
love
You're
to
married to him.
I'm not home a lot.
I made you
so-
question yourself though. Did you see that? How that
Yeah, I was
happened? You're
like, what?
Yeah, he plays with me and Emma like every
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So.
No, thankfully he doesn't, because I think that would drive me nuts.
Jeez, thanks.
I really love traveling and eating food, but
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
But when I do travel, I love to go all out. Like I want to do it all.
That's
You
how
know
I
what I
am
mean?
when I travel. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not going to be cheap.
No, not at all.
No, it ain't.
Like you don't travel and do it cheap. You
No.
travel and do it
And
right.
live it up,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
And do it right. I love
Yeah.
that. That's
Totally.
I
good.
do love drinking.
Yes.
It's
What's
my
your
So
favorite
grab yourself
cocktail?
a cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sit back.
Sit
What's
back,
your favorite
relax.
cocktail right now?
A razzmatazz.
Cocktail wise, I really love I just love all wine.
Mm-hmm.
I love dirty martinis, and then Aperol Spritz is my summer drink.
Ooh, yes.
By the pool. It's
Yes.
so good.
Nice.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I'm really simple.
Yeah.
I really can't drink hard liquor. It makes me like so sick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can have like one dirty
Yeah,
martini.
right.
If I have two,
Ooh.
no, I'm like passed out.
Oh.
I'm like not
She
at
goes-
the time.
She goes,
Yeah, it's not fun.
oh, good deal. Man, it was, we've been talking for a while. I really appreciate you taking the time. It seems like, I think it's been
No,
almost
it's
about an hour now that we've been talking.
Been a blast.
But obviously, we are really excited for you to kind of take your adventure down the podcast host rabbit hole. Kind of had a little bit of a powwow today
Yeah, I'm
about
so
what's going
excited.
on. You know, little production meeting. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm really excited to. I'm excited for you. You know, I'm obviously, you know, we're going to be kind of plugging your show on our shows and things like that because you're kind of falling under that umbrella, you
Yeah,
know, and things
no, I
like
love
that, which
it.
is really cool.
I love being part of something that you're so passionate about.
Totally.
Too, you know, because that just like is oozing out of you how much you love it, and that makes me so happy. You know, and so things might not be perfect, but that doesn't matter as long as you like love it, and like Emma
Totally.
said, be communicate and be honest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which, as you see, I'm very honest with them.
No, I'm happy about
Yeah, so I'm super. I love that you're so passionate about it. So I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I appreciate you taking the time to, you know, even reach out because I can't imagine what you might have been thinking. It's like, this is just some idiot kid, whatever. And I am, but at the same time,
No.
I do take it, as you saw earlier today, you know, off mic, I do take it pretty seriously.
Yes, you
gets
do.
A, gets
I
a,
know.
gets a
Oh,
little
yeah, he not
intense.
had a heart attack.
I know.
We're like,
You see what I have to
settle
deal
down.
with
I
all
know.
the
Jeez. Relax.
Get used to it. If you want it done right, hey, I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's always much to learn. So.
That's right.
But
Always.
ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us and listen to Natty talk about her journey. And Emma, I'm glad that you got to sit in for this too. This was so
Yeah,
nice.
thank you.
You guys
I feel honored.
Yeah, we might have to do a crossover special where the wife goes into happy hour with Natty once a month.
Oh, heck
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That'd be
I
so
love
easy.
that.
Oh man,
Yes.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll talk. My people
Okay.
and get in touch with your
Okay.
people.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, if well, let me do this first. Natty, if people want to find you, you know, where can they find you? Instagram, Twitter,
Yes.
what?
So my Instagram handle for podcast is Happy Hour with Natty. It's Natty. And then if you want to follow my Esthetician Happy Hour Wax and Facial Bar handle, it's HH Wax Bar. And they're both pretty much like I post a lot of similar things on each. So it's really easy to find me on either one if you want to follow both, if that makes sense.
Very good.
Ladies, if you have any skin concerns,
Yeah.
just anything, Natty
Yeah.
is the best person
Thanks.
to follow. She has the
I'm
best
still
stories
learning,
ever.
You know, I haven't been an esthetician long, but I am. I'll
I've
find
learned-
out for
I've
you.
learned
If
so
I don't
much
know,
from you.
I'll find it out.
I've learned so much from you, and I haven't paid a penny just because your stories are just so informative and so good.
That's
So
the goal.
yeah.
Totally. Thanks.
Totally.
Appreciate it.
And obviously, they can follow you at the Happy Hour Instagram
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Very cool. Well, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to get in touch with us as well, me or Emma or anyone else here at Wannabe Critic Productions, you can find us at geeklybyweekly1@gmail.com. You can find us at The Wannabe Critic on any social media platform. We would love to hear from you. Definitely go check out the website. There's a way to get in touch with us there too. I'll tell you what, it would be the coolest thing ever to be walking down the street and then no one knows who I am, but they bought a Wannabe Critic shirt or a Game Club shirt or a Guy and His Wife shirt, and it's like,
do I get one of those for being on your show? Or?
I mean, I don't have any here, but I can get you one.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So, but we might have to figure out a way to get some happy hour merch going on too somehow.
It's in the works.
Oh, okay.
Exciting.
Good deal. Fantastic. Can't wait. Well, I can't imagine, us not having you on the show sometime in the future. So as long as you're willing to come on, we get a little bit of an update on the podcast and see what's going on.
For sure.
1 year later. Guys, it didn't work out. We only got one episode in.
I think that's what you thought for a minute. You were a little worried about it.
I was not. I'm like, she's going to get it. She's going to get it eventually. It's going to be just fine. And on that note, we are going to sign off, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much for tuning in. Say goodbye, Natty.
Bye, guys.
Say goodbye,
Love
Emma.
ya.
Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye.